You feel that?
You know, I just feel like I need to lose some of these pounds. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm more fat and shit.
I think we're gonna have to be quiet.
Yeah, tell your wife what I did in here. Also kill yourself.
Wow.
Alright people, what's up everyone, and welcome to another review for the Month of Gorror 2018, and I'm taking a little break from my Halloween review series. I know I've only done 3 so far, and we're already the 10th day of the month. I should get on to them, but I will in the next few days. Don't get me wrong, I will get to them. But I wanted to take a real quick break because I actually did watch another horror movie in the last few days that actually just came out like last Friday. It's called Await Further Instructions, which is a movie I was actually very excited for because I saw like early reviews were glowing for this thing, and the trailer itself looked very interesting. And I like a good low-budget horror movie, because low budget, it definitely does not mean it's going to be bad. Definitely not. No, look at Halloween. Came out over 40 years ago. It's still great. It had like no budget back when it came out. So I was very excited for this. It looked like it could be really good. And I'm glad to report that Await Further Instructions is a movie that has a really interesting premise, and it doesn't really waste that premise. I will say the last 10 to 15 minutes itself goes a little too far, I will say, and I will get to that in a minute. But I think the whole mystery around this movie and the story itself is really tight and really does work. The story of Await Further Instructions is very simple. We have a British family, a very dysfunctional family, spending time during Christmas. They wake up on Christmas Day and find out that their house is boarded up with this like really strong metal just around the entire house, and they don't know what the hell's going on. They try to break through, they can't, and they wait around a little while, and they find out that the TV in the living room is actually shooting out messages, like certain things, requests and stuff, like do this, do that, like quarantine yourself, bleach your skin. So they immediately think, okay, maybe it's a government like quarantine or something like that. Maybe the outside world is all screwed up. Immediately I was getting like 10 Cloverfield Lane flashbacks. I was like, oh my god, what's going on outside? I will say the movie itself shows what it really is a little bit too quickly. I would say about 45-50 minutes, you immediately get, oh, that's what's going on. Where 10 Cloverfield Lane took a little bit longer. But I really like the setup, the premise, and I really like the family dynamic, because the family itself is filled with likable and unlikable characters. Like the two main characters here we have, or the two main characters, I would say, yeah, they're two main characters, but one of them isn't a part of the family. We got Nick, who is a part of the family. He's the guy that kind of got out of the family because he knew the family was very dysfunctional and the father was very controlling. He got out early. He came back with his girlfriend, Angie. They show up, and immediately everybody in the house is kind of being racist towards the girlfriend because she's not white. So they're all saying, you know, shit like terrorism, and they're bringing up, you know, the obvious racist shit. So immediately the family is very unlikable, especially the sister and the grandfather, who's played by David Bradley, who is in Game of Thrones, and he plays another detestable character. Very surprising. But the only character like in the family besides Nick that's actually likable is the mother, because you could tell she's fed up with this family too. If she's fed up with the father, she's fed up with everybody just being the way they are, and you can tell she wants the family to change, but they're not. And of course, after the whole quarantine thing happens, they start to break down even more. They start turning on each other. Immediately the father is like, oh no, I'm the leader here. You do what I say. And whatever that TV tells us what to do, we do. And it starts telling them to do more sinister shit and stuff. So it's really interesting. It's a very interesting premise, and it's a really good look at the psyche of like certain families out there, because there are families like this. Immediately in the first 10 minutes, you immediately like see like, oh yeah, this feels like a real family. And it really helps that the acting is very solid. Certain characters get really big moments to shine when it comes to acting, and they do a really damn good job. The father character in this, who is actually really creepy at times and very, very scary and menacing. There's a moment where he actually breaks down and starts crying after something happens, and you almost feel bad for him because he's like retelling certain stories in his life, and then he immediately flips back to being a dickhead, and you're like, oh, I just can't feel for you anymore, bro. But yeah, so all the characters are either really unlikable or kind of like interesting, and I think they're supposed to be unlikable. Like the sister in this character in this movie is completely unlikable. She is so detestable, but there's a part in the movie where something happens and you start to feel bad for her, and you're like, oh, okay, I mean, she's kind of a shithead, but I don't want that to happen. So yeah, there's a lot of really good moments with the family. So the family is what really makes this work, because that's really all you have besides the TV telling them to do stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. I keep making it sound like it's a very tense, like, thriller or something like that. It is a horror movie. About 40 minutes into the movie, shit starts going really wrong. And then the last 15 minutes really shows you that, yeah, this movie is straight up a horror movie. And if I had any complaint with this movie, it's the last 15 minutes. Really, I mean, I liked a lot of that stuff, I'm not gonna lie, but it's such a tonal shift that you're like, oh, I wish they didn't do that. Even though they did show what the possibilities of the ending would be about 45 to 50 minutes into the movie, I wish it didn't go that insane, I'm gonna say right there. I wish it kind of brought it back a little bit more and made it just seem like it was something else, you know? Don't want to spoil it, but a lot of the visuals are creepy. Even some of the stuff towards the end, like I said, I really liked all the special effects at the end. They all look great, and they're all like handmade and stuff like that, so it's all really cool. So I actually kind of like the last 15 minutes, I guess. That's like a positive and a negative. I liked it because it visually was nice, but the last 15 minutes also kind of ruined the tone of the rest of the movie that I just watched. I also didn't like the lighting. The lighting itself is very bland, very dark at times, and sometimes it's blue, like they have a blue tint, so I don't know, it just looks like a very ugly movie, but I bet it was very hard to shoot a movie like this in just one house and that's it, so it wasn't really a pleasing looking movie, but for the most part, I really enjoyed Await Further Instructions. There's some good kills in there. There's some good blood effects. There's a lot of tension. The family dynamic really works here. The acting is solid. And overall, I really liked it. Even the last 15 minutes, I mean, might have kind of switched what it was all about, but I still enjoyed it. So I'm going to give it a 28 out of 40. I enjoyed it. So go check out Await Further Instructions. I think you'll like it. It's a solid little horror movie. Go check it out. It's low budget. You go support low budget filmmaking, boys. Come on. Do it. Go check it out. Do it. Anyway, thank you and boo! Oh, I scared you.